Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new Chemical Brothers album, No Geography. Chemical Brothers are the legendary electronic duo of Tom Rowlands and Ed Simmons. They came to prominence in the late 90s with a slew of big albums, like Dig Your Own Hole and Exit Planet Dust. And while the late 90s isn't exactly my favorite era of electronic music, I certainly do enjoy the hell out of both of these albums and totally get why they were such a big deal at the time. But the years that followed is certainly a really iffy time for electronic music, and the Chemical Brothers albums that followed these two fantastic releases certainly showed it. 1999 Surrender is just seriously obnoxious, and the glitchy production is just not what I look for. 2002's Come With Us is just unnecessarily intense. And most importantly, everything that I've come to hate about modern electronic music. So much so that literally all the rest of the 2000s work and the 2010s work from Chemical Brothers just kind of blew by me. However, their last album, Born in the Echoes, I was a casual fan of it. I didn't think it was nearly as progressive and certainly not as consistent, but I had fun with it. Now, honestly, I did something with this album that I don't usually do, and that's go in blind, listening to no singles or nothing from it whatsoever. With that being said, let's chat about this new Chemical Brothers album. This album starts off with Eve of Destruction, and honestly, I have a lot of thoughts on this one. The vocal samples here are literally the next level of corniness that I didn't think the Chemical Brothers had in them. But, that being said, the groove here that drops is absolutely staggering. I love the bass groove here, and as this one rolls on, it actually gets a little bit more stripped down, leading to some really great, interesting grooves that I can actually get with. There are tons of elements of electro funk and even some disco thrown in there. Honestly, by the end of this track, I end up liking it a lot. And the later vocal snippets are much more on the tasteful side. Like, sure, I wouldn't say it's as genre-defining as their early work, but I'm having fun so far. Then we have Bango and, these grooves right off the bat. Yes, please. Matter of fact, I love almost the dance punk vibes that we're getting here. It's tight, it's seriously fun, and I'll be honest, this one has me moving in a big way. Even if these vocal samples sound more like GLaDOS from Portal than anything, I have grown to like them a little bit. But overall, this is just an upbeat, fun tune that I can totally get with. Got to Keep On is another upbeat and funky jam. Once again, subtle nods to disco, A+. And once again, while I stress enough that this isn't as genre-defining and game-changing as their early material, this is the Chemical Brothers just working with what they've created over the years and doing it in a really slick, classy way. The distant bells, the funky licks, the driving beat. I'm certainly grooving with all of this. And that random, seriously turn for the dark monologue halfway through, give me more of this. And MAH late in the album is a seriously intense, pensive tune. This one's a little interesting, a little different. The grooves are certainly here, but this one shows the Chemical Brothers really taking their time, really building their groove over a couple of minutes. It just shows them putting a whole lot more effort in a lot less. That's interesting. And when it takes off alongside this very memorable sample, this track ends up being fantastic. And not to mention, halfway through we get a beat switch, and it's one of the most enjoyable, impressive beats of the entire album. Sadly though, there are just as many tracks on here that are just not my cup of tea, not what I'm into when it comes to electronic music. First off, we get the sample-heavy title track here, No Geography. Once again, a very extended vocal snippet, almost too much. Now to be honest, I don't mind the beat here at all. As a matter of fact, I feel like the very driving, dark feel is something new. But so much of this is just so cheesy, and for what reason? The beats, the samples, they're on point, but too much of this is just so corny, and it doesn't need to be. Gravity drops later on, oof. This is the sort of awkward, unadventurous electronic music that really got me off the beaten path of the Chemical Brothers years ago. I barely have anything to say about this track. In over 4 minutes, the only thing that I literally wrote down listening to this is that this one gave me a headache. I have a lot of the same feelings on Free Yourself later on. This very busy beat is just a headache ready to happen. And the vocal snippet is just not captivating at all, and once again, just too much focus is put on it. That's right, friends, just like that, we're back in the very repetitive, obnoxious days of the early 2000s where the Chemical Brothers were more obnoxious than anything. Now, I will say this, when this track gets a little bit more upbeat, things get a little not so shabby. But too much of this track is the pure reason why electronic music is in the current state that it's in. Even this finale, Catch Me I'm Falling, it's just not what I expected to hear. Once again, it's got a big old vocal sample and it takes up most of the track and it's very stripped down, which is weird. It's not the worst track in the world, but honestly, I wanted something to maybe be a little bit more epic here. To be honest, ironically, this one is all down to the instrumental, because I think at this point they actually have their samples really in order and are doing a pretty good job with them. The result is just okay at best, especially for a finale. But I would say that this album is still worth a listen because the Chemical Brothers still have a couple of interesting tricks up their sleeve. Take, for example, The Universe Sent Me. Like, this is strangely forward-thinking, especially for an album like this. I really love the shimmering atmosphere and just how vast this track comes off. And the vocal snippet here isn't bad either. I actually love the very dreamy feel to it. To be honest, almost everything about this track is pretty exciting. And I love just how progressive this one is. Like, I didn't know that these guys had this in them. And as this track goes on, it just gets more and more cosmic. A+. And We've Got to Try is really cool as well. Between the very interesting contrast between a sort of laid-back groove and very intense production, this one has, again, some very forward-thinking ideas. I may not be as into some of the more wonky bits as this one rolls on, but this one just has enough fascinating ideas to really keep me captivated. So overall, I don't honestly think that this is the worst thing the Chemical Brothers have done. Trust me, their catalog in the mid-2000s to late 2000s is just so much more obnoxious. Like, this certainly isn't like one of their bigger, more progressive and more genre-defining albums for sure. It's a pretty safe album overall. But at the end of the day, it's these two pioneers, for the most part, just doing things with the genre that they really helped get on the map and doing it in a pretty decent way. I'm feeling a light 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you guys would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.